Welcome back to the channel, and as you can already see from the title, you know what this video is about. I'm simply not impressed by Zabit at the moment. It's not like the impressed that you would think. It's not like I'm saying I don't see how clearly how good he is and how solid of a prospect he is, that he's good on the feet, in the ground, he got a swag, he got like good submission ability, good finish ability, he's like the full package. But really he's not the full package yet, because you don't really become the full package till you beat somebody. So it's like the height versus substance. Yes, he looked good. Yes, he's dominated people he's really supposed to dominate, and he's been doing it in flashy fashion, and he's getting a lot of good praise from people. But it's always people getting praise from people all the time across all weight classes and all eras. But you don't really become the full package until you beat somebody of note. He really has beaten nobody, even in the top 30 or maybe top 20. He's beaten two guys who were just debuting. Then he beat a guy who was 2-2. That's his best win in the UFC. Then he beat a guy who lost to that guy who's 2-2 at the time before him. So so his first fight he fought Mike Santiago, a debuting wrestler, and Zabit's supposed to be a better wrestler than him, supposed to be a better striker than him, much better striker than him. So Zabit's supposed to dominate that fight. He gave up 2 takedowns, but he still dominated that fight and looked impressive and drew some eyes, especially from like Dana White and the higher ups. Then he fought Shayman Moraes, another debuting fighter who's supposed to be a striker, and Zabit supposed to be just as good of a striker, if not better. And he had the wrestling aspect and the grappling aspect, and he went to the grappling aspect and dominated the fight. So a good performance, but again, did what he was supposed to do against another debuting fighter. Then he fought Cal Bochniak, a guy who was 2-2 at the time he fought him, now 2-3, and really should be 1-4. A guy that doesn't have no real knockout power, not really what's called top-notch fighter. It's like a fighter that's like, he's good for like the lower level fighters as he is right now. Maybe he'll get better, but as of right now, he's just a fighter who's really going to beat you off pace and being well-rounded. So if you're weak in any area, he'll take advantage of that, or he'll beat you with his pace. Like he'll be able to wrestle you and try to stay in your face a little bit, but no real power or no real threat. And Zabit took him to a decision in a fight of night at that. So, but still, he outstruck him like 2-1, almost 2-1. So a good performance, but nothing impressive. He beat Brandon Davis, the guy Bochniak beat. And Brandon Davis is like 1-3 in the UFC, or at least 1-3 in the UFC. Maybe 1 foot out the door. And you beat him by impressive fashion. Also, Brandon Davis has, in all his fights in the UFC, he has been losing to like wrestlers or people. The wrestling aspect has been his downfall. So you go against a Zabit who has a phenomenal wrestling and grappling versus a guy who has a weakness to it. A guy who got taken down 10 times in his last fight, and maybe 20 times in 4 fights in UFC. So he clearly has a weakness to wrestling. So he's tailor-made for you. And then you beat him and submit him and call out Chad Mendes and Jose Aldo. Like, you're getting ahead of yourself. Maybe the people in the division are just as blind as he is to think that he doesn't even exist, just as he don't think they exist, and they're ahead of him and have done much more than him. Yeah, he might be able to beat some of them, and I might probably predict him to beat some of those people, but you can't deny that those people have put in much more work than him against higher level competition, whether they lost to the higher competition or went 50-50, or maybe just 3-2 against top competition. Zabit is 0-0 against top competition. He's been fighting nobody. And you can say they've been ducking him, and you can say, yeah, maybe the top 15, maybe the people outside the top 15 and then the 11 to 15, but people in the top 10 are going to go way down to fight you. They're going to want you to come up to them so that you can be fully, well, at least of some value to them. So it's like the reward is worth the risk. Instead of just trying to fight some guy, oh, he's a prospect. They're going to wait till you get up there. Just like they did with Yair Rodriguez, just like they did with Doo Ho Choi, just like they did with anybody. They wait till they wait till the hype finally started getting some substance. Then they try to claim it. Like, oh, Yair Rodriguez, he's supposed to be so good. Look what he did to this person. Now this is the perfect time for me to smash him. Doo Ho Choi, well, they kind of just, Carl Swanson just kind of wants to fight everybody. He's open to fight everybody, especially when he was gone on a good little streak. So he fought Doo Ho Choi, who was looking like a good prospect, and he's like, I don't think Carl Swanson really turns anyone down. So Doo Ho Choi got a good chance to fight a top level opponent after first he came around. Matter of fact, Doo Ho Choi has been fighting like, I'm starting a little bit, but Doo Ho Choi has fought better competition in his upcoming than Zabit has. He fought some people that have been around the UFC, have had credentials and stuff, whereas Zabit has fought people that have really barely been in the UFC, like just debuting, some guy that's just about to be out of the UFC, and some guy that's kind of gone 500 against the lowest level of UFC competition. So, whereas, like I said, Doo Ho Choi, for those people, he was stopping them all in the first round. And then he fought a real top-notch opponent, and then he got schooled. Then he fought Jeremy Stevens and got stopped. And and now I guess he's trying to reinvent himself. So there's always these prospects coming around, and I'm not saying that he's Doo Ho Choi. I'm just saying I want to see him fight the top competition like Doo Ho Choi ended up fighting, and see how he does against those people. Or at least see him fight people in like the top 15, then top 10, then top 5, instead of trying to jump over the whole division to fight the top of the people. When you haven't, there's so many people that have been putting in much more work in between that. There's even people behind him that have been putting in more work. I say Shane Burgos put in more work against better people. Calvin Guitar put in more work. Calvin Guitar only losses to Moicano in a decision loss to a guy who's a beast who just stopped Cus Swanson like he was nothing. So Calvin Guitar is a beast. In his very first fight in UFC, he fought Andre Philly, who was a certified, been around for a minute, tough out for anybody, well-rounded fighter, and he's credentialed. It was top 15 that time, was just breaking into the top 15. And Calvin Guitar came out and schooled him. So, in my opinion, it's so many people that put in so much more work and has had so much harder routes than him. I think Zabit has had one of the easiest route of any prospect in UFC history. Like, you rate the people he's been facing against other people. It's like, he's been getting like stylistic matchups that benefit him. And that's why I'm like not sold on him. Like, I'll wait till he fights somebody good. And I think he definitely could go up the rankings, but trying to call out Chad Mendes, Jose Aldo, he definitely shouldn't get those fights. But hopefully, just by him calling out, that brings more attention to him. So he'll get those fights in the top 15 so he can eventually one day get up to there. So I think, in my opinion, I predict he'll be in the title picture maybe by the end of 2019. Definitely not like beginning 2019, but the end of 2019, I see him being in the title picture. But I do want to see him fight some top competition first to see if he really could go on to be champion. But as of right now, I'm not sold. So that's about all I got to say. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.